There are moments in life when the hardest battles happen in silence. You weren't surrounded by crowds cheering you on. You were alone in the dark nights when the weight of your thoughts pressed heavy on your chest. The exam God placed before you wasn't written on paper. It was written in the quiet places of your heart. It was the kind of test that couldn't be measured by grades or recognition, but only by endurance, faith, and the strength of your soul. Many people fold under such invisible weight, but you didn't. Think about it. Every trial you faced, every disappointment, every rejection was God's way of preparing you. While others may have had easier roads, yours was steep, filled with obstacles that required more than just physical strength. It demanded patience, trust, and resilience. That's why your journey feels different. That's why you've often felt isolated. Heaven needed to see how much you trusted the process even when the outcome was unclear. And guess what? You passed. Even if you felt weak along the way, you proved that your faith is unshakable. When God assigns the hardest exams, it's never to destroy but to develop. The challenges you faced were like fire refining gold, painful but purposeful. If your life had been easy, if doors had always opened effortlessly, you wouldn't have discovered the depth of your own perseverance. God trusted you with struggles others couldn't handle because He knew the weight you were built to carry. That's not a punishment, that's divine trust. Sometimes chosen ones don't realize they've been handpicked for greater work. That's why the tests feel unbearable at times. But have you noticed something? Every storm you survived stripped away illusions and made you stronger. Every delay taught you patience. Every loss made you wiser. Without those lessons, you wouldn't be ready for the blessings that are about to come. This is why Anointed Era exists, to remind you that your pain is not wasted. It's preparation for destiny. So take a deep breath. What you went through was necessary, and your passing score is written across your resilience. In a world where shortcuts are celebrated, you took the harder road. You didn't manipulate, you didn't pretend, and you didn't sell your soul for temporary relief. You endured every chapter of your exam with honesty and faith. That alone separates you from the crowd. Anyone can win by cheating, but it takes a chosen one to succeed with integrity. Your patience is your proof. Your endurance is your certificate. Heaven saw you cry behind closed doors and still keep moving forward. The beauty of your story is that you didn't just survive. You did it without compromising your values. That's rare, and it's the reason divine doors are about to open in your life. This is what makes your testimony powerful. You are an example that it's possible to succeed without shortcuts. And because you passed the right way, your reward will last. Temporary gains fade, but God-given victories are eternal. The world often sees the smile you wear, but they don't see the tears you've cried at night. They see the strong front you present, but not the internal wars you fought alone. God's exam for you wasn't written for public display. It was hidden in the depths of your private struggles. This is why people sometimes misunderstand you. They think your life is easier than it really is. But only heaven knows the heaviness you've carried without breaking. It's in those hidden battles that your character was forged. When nobody clapped for you, when no one came to rescue you, you had no choice but to lean on God. That was the exam. Would you still stand firm even when no validation was present? Many crumble under silence, but you endured. And that's why your testimony is powerful. It's not built on applause, but on unseen victories. And now, God is about to make public what was once private. Comfort never produces growth. Think of the times when life was easy. You probably didn't pray as hard, seek as deep, or grow as much. But when everything was stripped away, when all you had left was faith, that's when you grew into the person you are today. The hardest exams were painful, yes, but they taught lessons no comfortable season ever could. You learned the strength of endurance. You discovered the value of patience. You became wise enough to recognize false friends, strong enough to stand alone, and brave enough to keep walking when the path seemed uncertain. These lessons are treasures, and they will serve you for the rest of your life. Remember, Anointed Era is here to remind you that everything you endured had a reason. The exams were never random. They were tailored to your destiny. And because of that, your growth is permanent. Many times, chosen ones confuse tests with punishments. It's easy to feel like you're being punished when nothing is going right. But the truth is, punishment breaks you down while tests build you up. God wasn't punishing you, He was promoting you. Every closed door, every disappointment was an exam to see how deeply your faith could stretch. The enemy wanted you to think you were forgotten, but you were. God was watching closely, not with a heart to condemn, but with a heart to refine. You were in a spiritual classroom, and though the lessons were hard, you mastered them. And now, the divine report card is in your favor. This is why you should never compare your journey with anyone else. Their exams were different. Yours was designed for the unique calling on your life. And because you embrace the test instead of running, your reward will be different too. Waiting is one of the hardest parts of God's exam. You prayed, you prepared, and yet the answers didn't come quickly. This waiting season wasn't wasted, it stretched your faith beyond limits. While others gave up, you kept holding on. You didn't see the results instantly, but deep down you knew delay was not denial. Every moment of waiting was building endurance in you that can't be shaken by sudden storms. Think about it. Seeds take time to break through the soil before they bloom. Your dreams, too, needed time to germinate underground. Waiting humbled you, sharpened you, and gave you the wisdom to handle what's coming. If everything had arrived instantly, you wouldn't have been ready. But now you are not only prepared, you are unshakable. This is the gift waiting gave you. And because you didn't rush the process, your blessings will arrive right on time. Part of your exam was watching people you loved walk away. Friends left, family misunderstood you, people you thought would stay forever turned their backs. At first, it felt like abandonment, but later you realized it was divine protection. God removed people who couldn't sit at the table He was preparing for you. Their absence wasn't a loss, it was a filter. You had to learn to stand tall without the support you once depended on. Their departure pushed you closer to God. It forced you to rely less on man and more on the one who never leaves. Painful as it was, that part of your exam revealed your inner resilience. It proved you could keep moving even with fewer people clapping for you. And when God elevates you, those who walked away will see why their chapter in your story had to end. Their absence was your protection, and their exit prepared space for your blessing. Every exam has trick questions, and yours came in the form of temptation. You were given opportunities to take shortcuts, to compromise your values, to cheat your way out of pain. But you didn't. You resisted the easy way out, even when it looked tempting. That's what separates you as chosen. You stayed faithful when no one was watching. Temptation is often disguised as a blessing. That's why it was part of your exam. Would you take what looked good or wait for what was truly meant for you? You chose patience. You chose faith. And that decision positioned you for long-lasting rewards. In a world where so many fall for quick gains, your ability to resist proves your character. Heaven doesn't just celebrate results, it celebrates integrity. And because you resisted, you are now positioned to receive what's real, not what's fake. There were nights when your pillow was soaked with tears. You questioned if you could carry on, if you had the strength to see another day. But somehow, every morning, you rose again. That was no accident, that was grace. God was proving to you that even in your weakest moments, His strength was working inside of you. Every tear was not wasted. It was watering the soil for your breakthrough. Pain became your teacher and tears became your prayers. You learned that weakness is not failure. It's proof that you are human, chosen, and loved by a God who lifts you when you cannot lift yourself. Those silent cries were part of the exam. Heaven heard them, even when people didn't. The more you wept, the stronger your faith became, because you discovered the divine comfort no one else could provide. And now, your tears will soon be exchanged for joy. Life's fire tested you, but it didn't consume you. Instead, it refined you. Every challenge burned away pieces of fear, doubt, and insecurity, leaving behind the version of you that was stronger, wiser, and unshakable. Fire is scary, but it is also transformative. That was God's exam, allowing you to walk through flames without being destroyed. Every struggle you faced shaped you into a vessel ready for greater use. Just as gold is purified by fire, you were being purified by trials. And though the flames felt unbearable at times, they could not break you. In fact, they revealed the strength inside you that you didn't even know was there. And because the fire didn't destroy you, you carry a glow that others cannot ignore. One of the toughest parts of your exam was walking alone. It felt lonely when people didn't understand your calling, when friends left, and when you had to face battles with no support system. But the truth is, you were never truly alone. God's presence was closer in those silent seasons than ever before. You may not have seen him, but you felt the strength to keep moving, and that was him. Walking alone sharpened your awareness of divine companionship. It made you realize that human approval isn't necessary when you're backed by heaven. While others mocked your isolation, heaven was using it to prove that you could stand, not because of people, but because of faith. And that faith is what carried you through. So no, you were never abandoned. You were hidden, and that was your protection. Patience is rare in today's world, but it was a cornerstone of your exam. You were forced to wait longer than most people, to hold on when everything around you screamed, "Give up." That waiting season wasn't meant to break you, but to show your ability to endure. Many want blessings without delay, but chosen ones must endure the process. Your patience set you apart. It allowed your blessings to mature, so when they arrive, they won't slip through your fingers. This is what makes you different. Your blessings are permanent because they are rooted in endurance. Remember, Anointed Era is here to remind you that patience isn't wasted time, it's divine preparation. And because you waited, your season of overflow is guaranteed. Another part of the exam came when others mocked your faith. They didn't understand why you still prayed, why you still believed, why you refused to give up even when circumstances seemed hopeless. Their laughter and doubt were heavy, but they became part of the test. Would you still believe even when no one else did? You chose to stand firm. You didn't let their voices drown out the whisper of God inside your spirit. And that's why your faith is unshakable today. You prove to heaven and to yourself that your belief isn't dependent on external validation. It's rooted in conviction. And soon, those who mocked you will witness the fruit of your faith. Discipline isn't glamorous, but it's powerful. Your exam required you to show up consistently, even when you didn't feel like it. Whether it was keeping your word, working hard, or staying faithful in prayer, you displayed discipline when quitting would have been easier. Discipline was the bridge between your trials and your triumph. While others gave up halfway, you pressed forward. Your commitment to the process proved that you weren't after temporary results, you wanted lasting transformation. And heaven noticed. And because of your discipline, what's coming for you will not be easily lost. Your exam tested your character by offering you opportunities to gain popularity, recognition, or success at the cost of your integrity. You could have compromised, but you didn't. You chose truth over lies, authenticity over pretension, and values over vanity. That decision wasn't easy, but it showed your true strength. Integrity isn't often celebrated, but it is the foundation of lasting blessings. By staying true to who you are, you made space for the right opportunities to find you. You may not have gained applause from the crowd, but you gained approval from heaven, and that's worth far more. And because you chose integrity, your blessings will come without sorrow attached. Forgiveness was one of the hardest questions on your exam. People hurt you, betrayed you, and left scars that still sting. Yet, you chose to forgive, not for them but for your own soul. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, but it does mean releasing yourself from the chains of bitterness. By forgiving, you passed one of the hardest tests of all. You proved that your heart is bigger than your wounds. Forgiveness made space for healing and for blessings to flow freely. It takes more strength to forgive than to hold grudges, and that strength is what marks you as chosen. And because you forgave, your future will not be bound by your past. Through it all, your faith remained. It may have been shaken, but it was never destroyed. That faith was the key to passing your exam. It was what carried you when your legs gave out, what whispered hope when your heart was tired. Faith was your anchor, keeping you grounded when everything else felt unstable. Your faith wasn't blind, it was brave. It was choosing to believe even when there was no evidence. That's why your story is powerful. You showed the world that faith is stronger than fear. And now, your faith has positioned you for blessings beyond what you imagined. And because your faith endured, your testimony will inspire generations. When you passed your exam, it wasn't just you who celebrated. Heaven celebrated too. The angels rejoiced at your strength, your integrity, your patience, and your faith. Your story became a light for others who are still in the middle of their exams. You may not realize it, but your life is already inspiring people silently watching you. Heaven sees what people overlook. And while you may not have received applause from the crowd, you received recognition from the one who matters most. That's why your breakthrough is guaranteed. It's heaven's response to your endurance. And now, all of heaven is cheering you on as you step into your reward. Every exam ends with results. And yours, victory. You didn't pass by chance, you passed because you stayed faithful. The reward waiting for you is not just material, it's peace, joy, strength, wisdom, and blessings that overflow. What's ahead of you is far greater than what's behind you. You've proven yourself through trials, and now the reward season begins. Doors will open, opportunities will flow, and people will recognize the glow of resilience on your life. Remember, your story is proof that it's possible to endure without compromising, to succeed without cheating, and to win without shortcuts. So, chosen one, get ready. Your exam is over, your results are in, and your reward is here. Chosen one, your life has been one long exam, but you passed without cheating. You endured storms, resisted temptations, waited with patience, and held onto faith. Now, your blessing season is about to begin. Share in the comments, what was the hardest part of your exam, and how did you overcome it? Your testimony could inspire another chosen one still in the middle of their test. If this message spoke to you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Anointed Era, and share it with someone who needs encouragement today.